Hi guys, here Romy from Musa XO. This channel, I hadn't made a video in a long time, and primarily due to some health issues. Health issues that had to do with vertigo, inner ear problems, and not being able to hear. And then I had more recently these few flares of panic attacks. So truly scary, really scary. For anybody that's going through anything scary, health-wise, financially, relationship-wise, all of that, we're all going through something. We're all going through a process of becoming. I wanted to raise my hand here and say that some of the things that have worked for me and some of the things that I have noticed, and a few points about this year. I knew coming into 2020 that this year was going to push everything into more integrity, everything at the collective level, everything all that had to do with the hierarchies of our political systems, our countries, our health systems, our social perceptions and systems, all of that was going to be like on 29 in terms of the insistence that this year was going to have into taking away and stripping anything that was not closer to more purity or more authenticity or more fairness. And so that happened at the level of the collective. We saw how the coronavirus really uncovered the worst fears for humanity. The fear of death, which is the original fear of death. All the fears can kind of be almost traced to that. The fear of isolation, fear of dying alone, not being able to be with your family, with your loved ones, or just dying alone, really. It's a big fear. Fear of not being able to breathe is a huge fear for any human, not even being able to breathe. So all of the fear of dying and the fear of suffering, those two core fears, and that was coronavirus did that, shook the world with that. It uncovered that. And at the personal level, that happened as well, right? It happened as well that we had to enter darker places, that things that were subconscious got uncovered. It's strong. Everybody is going through something. And if you haven't gotten it yet, it might be coming later this year, or some people got it earlier. Detonants or moments where there was, a breakup of something inside you, a breakup of structures that no longer serve you. I hope that you can know that and identify what is that moment. If you have a premonition, what is the area of life that will receive the blow? Usually in my case, I received it in a few areas of my life, and part of it was health wise and all of that. And I'm not going to go into details for my part because I'm not even ready to talk about it right now. It's very recent. Actually makes me almost dizzy to think about it. It's still very overwhelming. When subconscious fears get uncovered, it's programs that are in your subconscious. Basically, you weren't conscious of them, but they were managing parts of your life. So you were financing that in a way that you were losing personal power. So what's important about this, and the shift that I want you to consider, if you're going through a hard time right now, or if you have a feeling that it's coming, or if you're just coming out of that, what I want you to consider is that this is moving you towards more power. The moment you identify something that's draining power away from you because you're financing something that is out of integrity, that's actually not flowing energy from you, but just pouring energy out like a central energy system, like the ones that we use in cities. The moment you realize that, you can make the adjustments. When you don't see that, when that's in your shadow or when that is in your subconscious mind, you don't see it. So it's like you operate from a different perception. So I think it's very important to give value to the fact that these moments of crises and these moments of breakup of what no longer serves. There's so many examples at the social level, so many examples with the Black Lives Matter, with everything that's happening in healthcare and the inequality and all of that. So many examples of things that it was just the jackhammer came and like broke all of that open, and it's a mess right now, right? We're still processing big chunks of stuff, and at the personal level, that's happening to remember that it's all moving towards more integrity, more a higher place. It's supposed to go that way. That's why we're here. This is the Earth School. The Earth School is to evolve, and nobody said it was going to be easy. There's a perception, there's a Hollywood idea, or maybe even part of the American dream that's painted. It's life that is just lovely, that is like almost like a Disney world. And really, sometimes life is Halloween. Sometimes life is really, and you're like, of course that's true. But I am personally a dreamer, somebody that it's clear that what I want to do when I'm here is to enjoy my life journey, take advantage. I have FOMO from not living, take advantage of my time here, enjoy the most that I can, and not miss the blessings that surround me. Be aware of them, be awakened to them most of the time. But even with that intention, with that governing intention, there are things that accumulate. Even with that awareness, even with the journey of many, many years of studying all of these things, there are things that can accumulate in the back. There are things, there are original programs, there are things from maybe past lives, if you want to go into that have to do with imprints in your soul that haven't been processed. And so they're coming up for processing, and it can be done, and it doesn't have to be something devastating. But what I want to tell you is, in my experience, what has helped me, I'm still very, very early in the process of my own things, but what has helped me is to understand that there are going to be days that are going to be, and maybe a group of days that are going to be great. One day, a good day, 2 good days, 3 good days, wonderful days of feeling clear, of feeling motivated, and maybe feeling very like you're conquering it, right? You're conquering whatever it is that you are trying to improve. Issues. It can be finance, it can be separations in a family, it can be, again, health issues, it can be psychiatric issues, it could be anything. It could be addictions, it could be attachments, it could be a whole roster of the darkest things, and the biggest, facing the biggest fears that you could ever think of, right? And that is the wave we're riding now. One thing that I find that helps is taking a strategic perspective and understanding that there are some days that you're going to be better, and then there are some days that you're going to go on a dip, and you're going to lose confidence, and you're going to lose clarity, and you're going to enter streets, alleys in your head that are negative, that are dark, that are entangled, that are fearful, all of that. And having a little bit of a strategy around those days. One thing that has helped me, I don't have it here right now, of course, is having on my phone a 5 bullets on the to-do list on your phone, or notes on your phone. You can have 5 things that you must remember. 5 things that you must remember that have to do with the truth about yourself, or things that you have decided you must not forget. Maybe the thing is like, I trust myself. Maybe the thing is like, I am love, I am light, whatever it is, the affirmation that of your choice. It can be something a little bit more motivational. It can be something more spiritual, love, I'm the son of God, whatever it is. But just make sure that when you are in days that are low, maybe have 5, because usually in our head, we float around the same 5 topics. And so make sure that the 5 topics that are coming up, the low days, are not too low of a vibration, and try to go switch back as many times as needed during the day to the 5 topics you chose as your core topics, or your concluding topics regarding better harmony, better balance. That helps. Sometimes those days are breath to breath. For people who are suffering from panic attacks, or from anxiety, or going through a very, very difficult circumstance with people in your family. Maybe know that it's just Some segments of the day are going to be slower, and all your attention might be focused on navigating that segment as best as possible, and give yourself a break. Understand that you're not the only one. No matter how easy somebody else's life looks from the outside, we're all dealing with something very, very challenging for our own capacities. So something might not feel challenging to you looked at from the outside, but for that person, based on their own capacities and the way their brain and the way they were raised and all of that is done and formed, that person might be going through a lot of suffering because of that. So that's one thing. And another thing that I want to say is that make sure you have somebody that you can call, maybe 3 people that are there for you to call. You can call when you're feeling low, or when you're feeling depressed, or when you're feeling discouraged, when you need to be reminded of your strength. And be very selective about those people, because those people need to be speaking in truths, not in pity. You want somebody that sees the potential in you, that sees the creator in you as creator of your own life, that sees you in power and not in disarray or in victimhood or in martyrdom or whatever it is. You need to be selective in terms of that. And my son was telling me, but what about people who have nobody to call and they can't find your number? And I said, yes, they can find my number. They can find, if you don't have anyone to call and you are in a moment in your life where you are going through something difficult, you can find my information under my website, Musa Exo, under private sessions. You can get it there. I have a lot of people who have contacted me throughout this period, and sometimes they send me a WhatsApp that says, when is this going to end? I know that's a little flag that that person might be going through a low day, right? It might be just a matter of touching base with them or leaving them a voice text, just reminding them of why is this all happening? Because when you change your perspective regarding something that's happening in your life, in the Course in Miracles, that's called a miracle, when you have a change in perspective. And sometimes, oftentimes, I would say the majority of times, the change of perspective comes inspired or stimulated by somebody else that can give you that shift. And then all of a sudden you're like, you feel the relief from that change in perspective. And sometimes that's done hand in hand with somebody else. And I always felt like I didn't need that I could do it myself, that I could do it just reading something. But I realized that it's not the same, that sometimes it doesn't matter who you are, you need to have some people that you reach out to, especially in these moments. So I say goodbye some way, and make sure you remember that most of the times the core issue, that most of these problems, human problems that we have to do with programming, with early programming, with things that you believed when you were little, that you capture from your environment. Sometimes they're not conscious, a lot of them are subconscious, and that when they come up, for you to look at them in real life and make them conscious, you can actually work with them when you have them in front of you. They don't manage you anymore. And it might be difficult when you're going in when you're creating a process to manage that, but it's much better that when they are managing you from the subconscious. And so the silver lining is that you will be stronger, you will be happier, and I believe you will be more you, always at the end of chaos, at the end of a process of transformation and transmutation. And what the rest of humanity wants is that you are you. And it's easier, actually much easier, to love somebody when they are their original self, when they're their authentic self. And so in our search for love, us humans, and in our development of our self-love, which is the highest, hardest human journey. To believe our worth, to love ourselves deeply, it's important that we are more ourselves, that we really truly walk into living our truth. And so I leave you with that. If you found this to be helpful, subscribe or reach out or follow us in social media. Instagram mostly. I do some Twitter, but it's a little bit more political. And I hope to see you soon, and take care, and make sure you have your phone call list. Breathe.